Let's take a look at some beautiful herbaceous perennials that are growing and flowering for early summer. Hello, I'm Rosie Hardy. This is Rosie Hardy Gardening. If you enjoy our videos, please do subscribe to the channel. So this first lot of plants that I've got, which are flowering early summer, would like a little bit of shade, and some of them would like some damp ground. So that's the reason for having these varieties. I'm going to start with the ones that really like it damp, and that will be the Primulas and my Trollius here. So we have got Primula bulleyana. Look at this beautiful orange. It has almost red buds, but they are an orange red, and then they open up to this wonderful wheel of flowers. They've already had one lot of flowers down here. They open up to this beautiful orange with a lovely inner eye to it. The reverses of the flowers have also got little specks of darker orange red on them. Then this central piece here is going to go up, and it will extend its stem probably about the same amount as it's extended between this lot of flower and this lot of flower. So this lot's going to go up and create another tier here. Then it will go up and create another tier here. Hence why the common name Candelabra primula, and they look stunning. You will see them in beautiful planted gardens by streams and ponds, because that's the sort of area that they really appreciate being in, and they look fantastic. So they're out very late spring, early summer, creating a splash of colour. They're fantastic things. They are species, so you can get seedlings from them. The seed will scatter around here, very easy to see the seedlings coming up, because their little seedling leaves look like little primula leaves, so that is very helpful when that happens. The base of the plant will extend, so they create rosettes. You have your main plant here, this will create another rosette here, here and here, and gradually it will become a larger plant. So after say 3 years, you'd expect the base to be somewhere around about a foot, 30 centimetres, and you can expect the flowers to go up somewhere just under 2 feet. So that's between 45 and 60 centimetres is where you'd expect the flower to get to, but just a beautiful form. If you want to collect seed yourself, remember primulas the seed needs to go out of the pod, hit the ground, and that's when it germinates. If something stops it in between, it will stop germinating, and then you've got to do all sorts of processes. So instead of you going out with your paper bag and putting it over the top and shaking the seed into that, then taking it in and thinking, oh, 2 days later it's still fresh seed, I'll put it in. No, it's already put itself into its dormancy. So what you need to do is you need to take out your seed tray or your compost in your pot and just shake the head and shake the seed onto the compost straight away, dampen it, and then you will get much better success with your seed from your primulas. So that is Primula bulleyana, really super lovely orange thing. Then you get the completely different shaped primula, and this is the Pagoda primula, Primula Viali. And it has different shaped leaf. So if we have a little look at them both together, you can see the leaf of the bulleyana is much more your normal primrose shape. It's just oval with a point at the end, whereas your Primula Viali is a really long, narrow, elongated leaf. So completely different, and it holds it up in a shuttlecock form. So that is something interesting as well. Now again, as a Primula, it will put on side pieces, and this is quite interesting because this puts on what a lot of plants do at this time of the year. They put on this bloom, which is like a waxy coating. It's a natural waxy coating right the way up the stem, and you'll see it on buds of things and that sort of thing. People get very worried and think that it is mildew or that there is a disease on their plants. No, this is their self-defense against insects. This waxy coating is helping them to not get insects on there, not get disease in there. So don't try and brush it off, because if you brush it off, you'll just leave a horrible mark, and that will also bruise the stem. So leave it there. It is part of the natural process of the plant protecting itself. So once you get up past the waxy stem there, then you get these lovely lilac flowers that are coming out of this red top here, and you will get a lot of these flowers on much bigger plants. Once your plant is more mature and you have a bigger base, you'll have 10-15 flower heads coming up. So this is beautiful. Be aware with this particular variety, it comes up into leaf and straight into flower, and then when it has finished it dies back down and disappears, and it is quite a deep rooted, deep placed plant. You quite often think you've lost them. Even in containers, the containers look completely empty and you're going, where is it, what's that? And then you find there is root and a node right down at the bottom of the pot, right down here, because it likes to hunker down and be quite low, and then suddenly it reappears and up into growth, up into flower, and looking fantastic. So this is Primula Viali. Damp for this, damp for these. They prefer sun to part shade or dappled shade, but moisture is key for those too. Then we have the Trollius, or the beautiful big globe flower. This particular one is Dancing Flame, and it's called that because of these beautiful tepals that are coming here, these specialized petals that are in the middle of the flower itself, which look like flames dancing out, and it has a fabulous huge big orange cup flower there. So they're also known as the globe flower because when they're in bud they look like a big globe. Some of the single ones stay in a globe formation as well. Now they have a big leathery leaf, and it sometimes looks like a buttercup to a lot of people. So the main reason that a lot of people lose plants in their garden is because quite often, because our plants are bred from what are wild existing plants, they think that they are weeds and they dig them out. So do be aware of where they are, and remember to use your labels in a way. So if you want the labels sticking up, use a black label with a silver pen written on it so that it's just down the side so you can pick it up and tell. If you don't do that, but you put these plants, when you plant it, you put the label at the bottom of the planting hole and put your plant on top. When you do dig down and pull out something, you'll find your label and you will remember to put the plant back in. Just a little tip. So this Trollius, again, it wants a dampish area, so this is good around the edge of bog gardens, ponds. Will go in normal borders as long as you have got good moisture levels in the borders. It will normally stand up really well. This is just because this is a young plant, it hasn't got its bottom foliage. Now if this was a more mature plant, you would have a big mound of beautiful green foliage there, which would be holding the plant and holding it up, and therefore you wouldn't need to stake it. And the flowers can get up to 2.5 feet. So foliage at the bottom and spread at the bottom will be a foot to 18 inches, 30 to 45 centimetres. Height of the flowers 2 to 3 feet, 60 to 90 centimetres. So it's a really beautiful middle of the border, lovely plant for the early summer, but moisture and semi-shade, it will be very happy. Now if you want something that is very upright and will tolerate a lot of conditions and you can push to part shade, then the Baptisias are really good. This is Baptisia Blueberry Sundae, and this has got gorgeous coloured, beautiful legume, pea-like flowers held in a lovely spike up here. This is becoming a very popular plant. There's been a lot of breeding on Baptisia. You can get all sorts of different colours. You can get taller ones and shorter ones. Now the Blueberry Sundae tends to be one of the slightly shorter varieties, and by shorter we're meaning about 2 foot 60 centimetres, maybe 75. They make really decent clumps, but they just spread slowly. Upright stems which hold themselves up. They don't tend to get bothered with any pest or disease, so that is really useful. And they will tolerate, once mature, they will tolerate it getting slightly drier. You can put them sun or you can put them shade. I've put this one in this shady talk today just to show you that you can push things that way, and they are an excellent plant. Once they've finished flowering, you will find they have beautiful seed pods on them. Those seed pods are a sort of slaty blue, which is really lovely coming out. But because this is a named variety and bred variety, if you do get seed, you won't necessarily get seedlings, if they do germinate, that are true to type. So that's just something to be aware. And remember, they're going to flower small flowers on the ends of some of these spikes as well. So you haven't got the full flower on this. It's going to have at least another 5 flower spikes on it coming through. So it's a really good show. And there are beautiful colours in these. This one, Blueberry Sundae, very, very good. Lovely variety. And as I say, very easy to grow. Reasonable soil. Recently I set up an email newsletter, and if you want to sign up, then please click in the comments link below or scan the QR code on the screen now. If you sign up, you get an exclusive video. This is a video of me explaining colour combinations and plant combinations in real gardens. Then of the ones which wanting a slightly damper, as I say, the Baptisia will take it damper, so that's fine as well. You've got this beautiful Campanula. This is a Campanula takesimana type, and this one is called Elizabeth, with these beautiful long tubular flat hanging bell flowers, which when you turn them up have got a fantastic spotting inside, and they're all hairy down the tube as well. And the hairiness down the tube is to help the insects, and it gets the insects to be able to get up. So they act like a ladder for the insects to be able to get up the tube, because all of the pollen and the nectar is all at this end here. So it acts so they can get in and then they come through, and also it means that they brush off any of the pollen where it is required also. Now this is a spreader. This will spread quite well, and you can see in the container at the bottom here that all of that growth is coming through round the edge of the pot itself. And if I just drop it out of its pot, we can see that it has got what are known as runners. So these are going to turn into little plantlets. So if this was in the ground, these would be wandering around, finding its way and making a large clump. And it is a shady, woody, wood-loving plant, so therefore dappled shade, part day shade, but it does require a moister temp because it's from a woodland. It is used to leaf litter, therefore that is a moister sort of soil, and it will just run around. So it's not going to make a round clump, because these runners will go wherever it is nice soil, so it'll meander off and you'll get this meandering effect, and it's a beautiful thing. So once you've had the first lot of flower up here, if you take these dead old flowers out, you'll get secondary flower coming up as well. I won't say how far it will go necessarily, but usually you could say a good 2 foot in width, so 60 centimeters plus, and then in height anywhere between 2 foot and just under 3 feet, depending on how much moisture is there. So if it's a drier year, the flowers will be shorter. If it's a wetter year, the flowers will be taller. That is how they react. So that's why when you see descriptions, someone's description of height and shape can be completely different from someone else's, and that is all to do with the growing conditions that those people are used to growing in. So you have to give it a broad spectrum, I'm afraid. So this one, anywhere between 60 and 80 centimetres in height with the flowers, and the foliage stays down. The flowers are held above the foliage. The stems of the flowering stems do not have a lot of leaf on them, so you always get to see the beauty of the flowering plant. And because of the way that it grows, you can lift it and divide it. It's absolutely no problem at all. Campanula, takesimana, Elizabeth. So those are the ones which prefer shade, maybe soft shade, but definitely a bit of moisture. And then we'll go on to the ones which will be happy in a slightly drier soil, or maybe a little bit more light. We've got this beautiful biennial, and this one is Digitalis, purpurea, Alba. And the reason why I wanted to show this one is that this one has got at the top of its flower here a very strange floret, and this floret here is sometimes known as a king flower. It's just on the top here. They should normally be these beautiful foxglove tubes like this. This is a type of what is known as fasciation, and fasciation is a change in the bud formation at the top due to either them getting a disease in the top bit, or insects have created it. There's a molecular change in what happens to the top of the flower here. Now, You could say, oh, well, I'll try and keep that. And people are saying that they've got them true to being like that. I'm not really sure that they have, because this is a natural occurrence and it only occurs every now and again on plants. I'm not actually very keen on it. Some people think it's lovely and it's really quirky. Normal fasciation, which can also occur on these, is normally where there is a flat stem. So the stem, instead of being round, becomes completely flat like this, and you get the flowers coming out of the edge. They look very, very weird. And there are plants which are grown with that fasciation because people think it is interesting and slightly different. And everybody's taste. I have no problem with that whatsoever. So these foxgloves are true biennials. Occasionally the plant will live for 3 years. So basically what that means is that they are going to set their seed once they have finished flowering. So they set their seed usually August, September time. The seed lands on the ground, it germinates, you get a young plantlet that goes through the winter. Sometimes that plant will flower the following year, which means it has grown in 2 seasons. That's the biennial bit. But sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it will wait until the 3rd season and then it will flower. It's still a biennial because it's taken it basically 2 full seasons to get itself into flower. Occasionally though, after flowering, if you've gone and cut the flowers down and you've got some basal pit, that might last and flower for a 2nd year, but after that the plant does not survive. It is young plants that you're getting. Now if you don't want it self-seeding all over the place, because once these set and they start to go brown, they have little pods like this, and those pods suddenly break, and that means that the seed gets chucked out all over, and it can be quite a large area, and then you've got seedlings dotted about. That's no problem. You can lift them, you can hoe them off. Once you've hoed them off, they will die. If you cut them off, they will die. If you pull them out and move them around or pot them on, that's absolutely fine. If you don't want them self-seeding that way, but you want them self-seeding near the plant, I always suggest that once the whole thing has gone brown and it's ready to drop the seed, just bend it halfway so that the flower spike is pointing down and just dropping all of the seed at the base of the plant. Then you can pick up what you require, you can leave some in the place where it is, and then you can dot them around. But once the seedlings have got past the stage of their leaves being more than, say, 6 inches or 20 centimetres, do not try to transplant them. They do not like to be transplanted at that stage. They get transplant shock, and if you aren't looking after them because you've got maybe a lot of them, so do them when they're much younger. Do them at, you know, sort of February, March time transplanting. Lift them up, move them around, put them where you want them, or get rid of them. But they are beautiful things. So that is Digitalis, purpurea, Alba, and it's great. So this is for part shade, into sun, and a really good early summer flowering perennial. Sorry, biennial. God, getting my words muddled up. Then we have the perennial Vabascums. This one is Vabascum Cotswold Beauty. Cotswold Beauty is this lovely apricot colour, and you've got your first bit of flowering that's going up here, then you've got your branch flowering here, and then you've got more flowers coming down through there. And you will notice with this Vabascum it has got green leaves. With the green leaved Vabascums you can push them into shade. They are actually happier in dappled light than they are in full sun, because these are related to Vabascums which actually grow, so the chaxi types which grow in edge of woodland into woodland. So that is where these are. So these are where they get glances of light on them and then they're in shade or dappled shade. So soft shade is what these will grow in. But really beautiful plants, and they will flower and flower and flower. If you put them in, the foliage gets quite large, but the base of the plant isn't too big. They don't want too much food, because if you think about a woodland area, it's not that much. They've got leaf litter. So as long as they've got that, they will be absolutely fine. Once they've had their full first bit of flower, you can cut them down a little way, or you can cut them down quite a long way, and you'll get secondary flowering of these. And they are superb. They've got lovely strong stems, so they don't need staking. Height-wise, they're going to be, say, a foot at the base, so that is 30 centimetres, and flowering height anywhere between 2.5 feet, 75 centimetres up to 90 centimetres. So quite a good size for the middle of the border. You could put it a little bit further forward if you wanted to, for a semi-shady spot. Verbascum Cotswold Beauty. Then let's go on to this rather stunning Dahlia. Now this dahlia here is Dahlia merckii. Dahlia merckii is a species dahlia. It's got very delicate, softer foliage, which only gets to about 2 foot in the bulk of it, and then it is an arching dahlia, very unusual. Most dahlias are much more upright, but it's got these wonderful wiry stems with these beautiful lilac single flowers, and it has lots of them, and they just daintily float around on the top of here. So it's a much more elegant form. If I just drop it down here, you can see, and so in the wind it will just be like this. Completely different stature to a lot of the dahlias that you grow. It is a species, and therefore you should be able to get seed from it and be able to do it that way, but it will also come from young soft tip cuttings. Now we containerize these, and we keep them inside initially until the frosts have gone in the spring. So this is a little bit further into growth than it would be in your gardens naturally, but it is a beautiful plant and it's worth mentioning it. We don't leave these, and I certainly wouldn't leave this species outside in the garden, so I would always consider this one being in a container and actually moving it around. You could put it into the ground, you could put it in its container, but if you do that you need to remember to water into the container, or you can put it into the ground and then lift it for the winter to overwinter inside in a frost-free area. But they are beautiful, Dahlia merckii, and you can push this to slightly shadier spots, which is quite unusual for the dahlias, and it's a really good form, so that will go in a shady spot and really lovely, and I just think something totally different from what you would normally see. So Dahlia merckii. Then we have a Nepeta. Now most people think of Nepetas, catmints, as being for full sun. They also think of them as probably being lower, having grey foliage, and those are the forms that like to be in full sun. But there are a lot of Nepetas, like this particular one, which have got green foliage, quite dark green foliage. This one is a very upright form. It's got square stems which are dark, and then you get these beautiful violet coloured flowers on the top here, and it arches out. Now it's not only going to have this first lot here and these ones, there are more to come out the side here and more to come out the side here, so you're going to have a beautiful big head all over every single growth on this particular plant. This is Napita Neptune. Now with the green foliage, they will go in shady spots, so it means that you can put a Nepeta in a shady spot. Also, these don't have the Cattleya oils in their leaves, so they don't smell the same. When you rub them, they smell a slightly different smell. They're more oily, unlike the catmint, the silver-leafed ones, which smell really quite strongly, more sagey. So these ones will don't get attacked by the cats. So if you have a problem that you don't want the cats coming in and destroying your garden, then these are ideal. Now they don't need staking, they're really good, they make lovely clumps. So these are a plant which most of its growth is going upright, so it's much more of a pillar form. It's going to make lovely rounded clumps, so somewhere around about 18 inches, 45 centimetres at the base, and then going up to anywhere from 2.5 feet to 3 feet. So that is 60 centimetres, 70 centimetres up to 90 centimetres in height with the flowers. And it doesn't need staking because it's got these square stems. And if when you've got the first lot and it's died back, if you give the first older stems a little cut back, not quite right the way down, but 3/4 of the way down, you will find they'll send up more flower and you'll get more coming through. So it flowers for a good length of time. It's a really useful colour to put in a shady spot. So this is Napita Neptune. You can take it from basal cuttings, you can divide it, but it's a really cracking addition to a shady border. So that gives you 9 plants here for shady areas, really different types of things. So slightly lighter shade on some of these, but moisture. A little bit of deeper shade on some of these, but they can take it slightly drier. So that is a good lot of early summer flowering perennials for you to look at and to enjoy in your garden. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.